now, right now. Right 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 now, right now. Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the Vietnam War. The government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we're bringing you the latest and everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, I am very, very excited to tell you that Bitcoin is putting in a bottom. Just kidding. I'm a Christian. I don't lie. I'm not excited. I wish Bitcoin was still dropping. I just got to be totally honest with you. I wish it was just continuing to the downside. I know that's selfish because I know a lot of people are in long trades and they're negative and all that. I really enjoyed buying at $85,000. Did you? I loved it. I loved it. I think I invested like $35,000, $40,000 over the weekend down there at like $85,000. I only had a little bit of cash. I know it's a lot for most people, but for us, it's a little bit. I only had a little bit of cash. I already invested too much up at like 110. But I was very excited to be able to buy the dip down there. But Bitcoin has bottomed. It has put in a bottom, as we talked about last week on, I believe it was Thursday. On Thursday, we dropped down to about $80,000, and it seems that Bitcoin may have put in a temporary bounce. Today, we're going to be talking about this bounce. We're going to talk about whether or not Bitcoin is done correcting, and we're going to talk about where Bitcoin's going from here. I'm very excited to be here with you today. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you for TradingView for not updating. What is going on here? Come on now. We're going to have internet? That'll be funny. Let's see if TradingView will cooperate. You know, considering I've done like 3,500 videos with TradingView, it's funny. Every 100 to 200 videos, TradingView starts just kind of crapping out here on me. Let's see if it's going to cooperate this time. Here we go. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this bounce. While TradingView gets its act together, we'll go ahead and read some chat here. Chico Esparza is in chat. 2904 said, yo. Drian121 is in chat. Achilles is in chat. R Masters TV is in chat. Go Marquette is in chat. David Trehan is in chat. Said, hey, Jeb, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you as well. Finally, we get an update over here. We've got Medic Relatino. Buenos tardes. Bitcoin al infinito y más ala. Más ala? Aya? Not exactly sure. Buenos tardes para tú. Good day, Jeb. Dump is done. My TA only, but maybe retest. Possibly. We're going to look at that today. This bounce is temporary, going back down soon enough to hit the 200-week SMA next year. Yes, there are a lot of very, very, very good bits of technical analysis going on today. I've only got a little bit of time. We've got a really important doctor's appointment coming up that I've got to get to. My wife, as you guys know, has been having heart trouble, which is like the worst kind of trouble that you can have. I've heard it once said that you have 99 problems until you have a health problem, and then you have one problem. And right now we are dealing with that one problem, but I'm hoping that we're going to get some answers. So I'll keep you guys up to date on that. Apologies that the schedule's kind of been all over the place. We're doing our very best to bring you the best content that we have here. But of course, biblically and morally, you understand that we've got to keep the core protected. Got to make sure that she's feeling better. So we're going to continue to bring you guys content, but I'm going to continue focusing on getting her better. But I'm really excited to be here. Who's excited to be here? I'm excited to be here. Let's get started. It is 6 in the morning on Friday. 7 a.m. rolls around and Bitcoin dumps down to $80,000. When it does so, we have a major volume climax happen here on Coinbase and happen on every single exchange as Bitcoin tags right down there into this zone that we've talked about. If you'll recall, as soon as we did this underside test of 94,000, actually it wasn't that one, it was this one, on Tuesday of last week, at about 3 in the afternoon, we posted a tweet saying Bitcoin rejecting off of $94,000 would be catastrophic. The next day, we talked about how if we cannot get back above $94,000, that was on Wednesday, the Bitcoin is most likely going into a technical bear market, and we talked about how the top range of the buy orders from the exchanges are in the $75,000 to $80,000 range. And so we started talking about how Bitcoin was going to go back down to $75,000 to $80,000. A few days later, of course, Bitcoin drops down here to $80,000 and so far has put in a bounce. Now, this was a very ugly bounce to start with. I mean, this was just an absolutely disgusting bounce. It was trash. Like, this was a trash bounce to start with. We came up here and tested this level of resistance at $85,000 over and over again. And the reason that that was so important was because that actually was the Fibonacci level off of the entire off of this entire movement here. It was the 0.786. So when you zoom in here to the 15-minute, what you were seeing happen, I know that things are getting a little bit messy here, but I'll try and explain this as well I can. This level right here, let's turn off all of these moving averages and volume, invisible range, volume profile, turn off all of that. This level right here is that 0.786 out here, right? So you got the 0.786 out here. Let's go ahead. I turned on a different level, 0.82. Let's turn that off. We have this level right here, which Bitcoin was basically trying to get above. We bottomed on it, fell through it, dropped back down to 80, bounced up, rejected off of it, fell over. And I said to myself, you know what? Based on this bounce, that's really going to determine what happens, is how low is Bitcoin going to go after this overside underside test. You see, this was the same thing that happened over here with 94, which was the other fib level that we were looking at, the 0.618. Overside underside test, that's a confirmed downtrend. Over here, when we saw the overside drop down underside test, then this correction right here really was the make or break. And so on Friday, we were discussing about how if Bitcoin was able to get a strong bounce here, then we might end up going higher. What in the world? Where'd all our charts go? Where'd all of our indicators go? Okay, we got a clean chart. I don't know what button I pressed, but there we go. Something's going on TradingView right now. Who knows? We're getting a little, it's a little spicy today. We're having a little fun with the chart. Anyway, Bitcoin fell back down here to this level of support right here, the 0.382, which is a pretty high bounce. Typically, when you see a rejection off of a level, you come back down to 0.618. That's a healthy correction. Anything above that is even healthier, which typically is very bullish. So we got this high bounce, and that's where you ended up seeing Bitcoin rally up here above the 0.786 on the high time frame analysis and bounce. And so this is why things have been pretty bullish. But there was a problem. Dun, dun, dun. Bitcoin set into motion because we did that. A CME futures gap, which you've probably heard a lot about. I've told you many times, never trust a Sunday pump, and you should not trust a Sunday pump. But the good news is we did actually fill the gap that Bitcoin created right here. You can see there was a gap between 85.5 and about 85.9. So there was this gap right here, and as you know, CME futures gaps are a little bit of self-fulfilling prophecy, but they are actually valid. And luckily this morning, because otherwise we were going to have to fill this later. I mean, this little bit of trading right here may have just prevented an entire bear market. Literally, this right here may have just saved us from an entire bear market. If we're going to see a super cycle, this is one of those early canary in the coal mine moments where you get the whisper of, okay, things are going to be all right. And the reason for that is that if Bitcoin, we posted this on Friday, if Bitcoin did not fill this CME futures gap, what was likely going to happen is Bitcoin was going to rally up here to the 50 weekly simple moving average, which will be right up around here right now. It's rally up here, reject off it because it's got to fill the CME futures gap. We left some baggage down here. And so Bitcoin was going to have to do that, as we'll talk about in a minute. But luckily, Bitcoin did fill that CME futures gap. So now we kind of go back to the fact that Bitcoin built the CME futures gap. We had this nice little architecture sending us above 0.786. We fell down, bounced on it. Now we're going into a rally. Where are we going here? This is most likely an actual solid trend reversal to the upside that's going to produce something. The question then becomes, what? Well, as you know, we talked about how the first leg of this bear market was going to give us a lot of information about a few different things. First and foremost, how deep this first correction was likely going to tell us a lot about where the bottom of the bear market is. The bottom of the bear market is probably going to be about 1/3, about 1/2 lower than all of this. And so what I mean by that, this is a $45,000 drop. If this is the bottom of the first leg of the bear market, then you would expect, based on analysis we've done over the last couple of weeks, I don't have time today to get into all of it, but you would expect that the bottom of the bear market would probably be about half that as deep measured from the bottom, which would give us a bear market bottom at, look at that, 57,000. Do you remember me saying that if $94,000 did not hold, then Bitcoin would likely drop back down to $57,000 to $75,000? So far, we've dropped back down to 80. Right? We haven't even gotten to 75 yet, but I can tell you from everything I'm hearing from all of the contacts we have, there's a giant tranche of orders right here in between 50 and 75. So if Bitcoin does come up here, as we'll talk about in a second, and grind down, 57,000 is a pretty solid target. Now, let's talk a little bit about where Bitcoin is going from here. If this is an actual, real, solid bounce, then what we're likely going to see happen is that Bitcoin is going to rally into the 50. The 50 has curved over, is now officially going to the downside, and we would likely end up coming up to this level and testing it. And by the time we get there, it'll probably be sub $100,000, which means you'll basically have convergent resistance around $100,000. I fully anticipate at this point in time, and I want to make this very clear, BTC will go most likely to 94K to 100K. And the reason that that's interesting is because, if you'll recall, this was our price target bearish, falling off of 116. Now it's our price target bullish. What does that tell you? That tells you that there's a possibility of an overside, underside test. This is basic analysis. When you have a level of support, if the market does this, then that means you're in a downtrend. These 2 points and that breakthrough tell you that this level turned from support into resistance. And on the other hand, now that we're rallying up to it, if we do this number, and we have that underside overside test with that break right here, then that is confirmation that we are not, in fact, going into a bear market. If you will remember, we said on the hourly chart that if Bitcoin created an overside underside test on 94K, which is exactly what it did, then I don't want to, but I have to say we're going into a bear market, right? Now, on the one hand, I want to go into a bear market because I want to buy Bitcoin on the cheap. But what I mean when I say I don't want to is that I don't think that makes sense from the fundamental analysis standpoint. It really doesn't, because we are looking at some extremely strong macroeconomic tailwinds coming in next year. Okay, so that's that. I know we talk about a lot of things, and sometimes it can kind of be confusing what I'm talking about. I want to be very clear, as clear as I possibly can be. But right now, what is most likely going to happen is that because of this formation here, this bounce, that underside overside test on the 0.786 here at 85,000, this is a very bullish structure that will probably send us at the very least to 94,000 if we break through it, or do a, once again, underside overside test. Then that's where you could start looking at formations like an inverse head and shoulders pattern that would give you a price target pointing up towards like 105, which would indicate a major break of structure and possibly lead us back to all-time high. But really, it just kind of is something that we're going to have to sit and wait for. What I can tell you very confidently is Bitcoin is most likely going to rally back to $94,000 to $100,000 as a bit of a relief rally in the short term. And that's why I was buying so much down here. You want to make money in Bitcoin? Wait till the RSI is down. Look at the RSI on Bitcoin last week was at 22. The last time we saw RSI that low was over here on the 19th of August, 2023. That was the beginning of the bull market, guys. Bitcoin was trading at that point in time at $27,000. If you look on the weekly chart, this is the lowest RSI has been since the 12th of December, 2022, when Bitcoin was trading at $25,000. This was an extremely low RSI level, and I hope that you pass the test. I hope that you're like, okay, these are strong signals. This is a great time to be adding to my position. I have a bunch of buy orders right below 85, right here in this zone. Ton of investment. I'm talking tens of thousands of dollars of investment that I made at that range because I was confident that Bitcoin would get some kind of bounce. Now, I didn't send everything into the market because ultimately we are still in what could end up being a dead cat bounce. Whether or not Bitcoin goes into a bear market is going to be wholly dependent on whether or not Bitcoin can break through the 50. At this point in time, Bitcoin needs to break through 94,000. It needs to get above 100,000. If it does, super cycle, Bitcoin goes off to 150, 200, whatever the number is. We'll discuss what the exact number is, when we get to that point in time. But if Bitcoin wants, then it can break through the 50 and it can rally. Or it doesn't. I mean, it really just comes down to how is Bitcoin going to interact with this moving average when we get there, when we most likely get there, because that's probably where we are going. We are most likely going in the direction of the 50 weekly moving average, and we simply have to how Bitcoin is going to interact with it because we don't know just yet. And here's why. There is a very strong macroeconomic case to say that Bitcoin should not have a 4-year halving cycle bear market. It doesn't make any sense in the light of quantitative tightening coming to an end in a week, in the light of Donald Trump getting to pick whoever he wants on the Fed, and whoever he puts on the Fed is going to end up slashing interest rates to the floor because Trump wants to run the economy so hot that they outgrow the debt. You understand that we are moving into an inflationary cycle, whether it is Republicans or Democrats in office. It's been like that for 25 years. We got our hopes up that Doge was going to get things under control. Yesterday, we got a report that the Department of Government Efficiency no longer even exists. And so we understand that the Bitcoin market is going to get caught up in this inflationary cycle when 2026 comes around. We have a lot of reasons to be very bullish on Bitcoin and frankly, even somewhat bullish on altcoins because of all of the tailwinds that Bitcoin is going to receive next year. Now, technically speaking, Bitcoin is following the exact same structure as a 4-year halving cycle bear market. So there are extremely strong arguments in both directions. And I will tell you when I have confidence of what's going to happen. Right now, I can't tell you what's going to happen because both sides have extremely strong positions that make a lot of sense, be very easy to defend. In the benefit of hindsight, both of them would be like, obviously that was going to happen. We just don't know. And so right now, what we need to do is be opportunistic. And the way I played this market is after we drop below 94, I said we're going to 75 to 80, lined up a bunch of buy orders below 85,000. In one of my Excel spreadsheets, it said, do not buy Bitcoin until sub 85,000. I bought, I want to say about $35,000 to $40,000 worth of Bitcoin down below $85,000 because I believed that that would be at the very least a short-term bottom. You just don't see Bitcoin sit down at 22 on the RSI for very long. That's just not really the way this works. Most metrics in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies were printing the most bearish levels that they have seen in years, if not ever. So it's a fantastic opportunity to make some investments in Bitcoin, and so I'm very happy that that happened. On top of that, by the way, because of where the weekly candle closed last week, we actually managed to close above the 0.786, which that does give us some kind of credence that, maybe Bitcoin is going to be able to continue the rally here. Maybe there is credence to the idea that 2025 was the bear market. When you look at Bitcoin over gold, BTC XAU, we've been in a bear market. We've been in this head and shoulders pattern that broke bearish. We're building this massive inverse head and shoulders pattern, right? That points to the upside. It is very possible that when you plot Bitcoin over gold, that Bitcoin has been in a bear market ever since December. Bitcoin is down 50% against gold. Maybe Bitcoin's bull markets and bear markets are better plotted on the gold chart than they are on the Bitcoin chart. Maybe this uptrend that everybody's talking about on the dollar chart is not actually the uptrend we need to look at on the dollar chart. Maybe we need to look at this uptrend here on the gold chart. Maybe gold needs to drop to, Bitcoin over gold needs to drop down to 17, 18 and bounce. Maybe that is going to be the way the bull market, bear market structure is now. Maybe we're going to see this trading off between Bitcoin and gold. We just don't know. But what we do know is that right now, Bitcoin just set a technical bottom and it was a higher low. And so that does give us some kind of confidence that the bulls still have a chance here. We have not broken through 75. We have not set a technical lower low. So while the 4-year halving cycle purists and 4-year halving cycle models would point down towards about 57,000, there is a strong case in both directions. And so again, what I am doing, because we can talk analysis, we can talk these two theories all day long. What I am doing is I'm looking for opportunities to buy cheap Bitcoin so I can hold it for 15 years. And that is what you should consider doing as well. The goal of what we are doing right now is to look for opportunities to buy Bitcoin and hold it for a very long time, at least 5 years. I was just talking with someone about this at a Thanksgiving event that was going on last night for a bunch of different neighbors. If you want to succeed in Bitcoin, you need to find a decent entry and you need to hold it for at least 5 years. You need to hold it ideally for more like 10 to 15 years. And then you will make money. Like it historically, anyway, you've been guaranteed to make money if you've held Bitcoin for more than 5 years. And so, do we know which direction Bitcoin's going to go? Not yet. I'm on the fence. And when I'm confident enough to give you my take on that, I will. But for right now, I'm on the fence. But what I will tell you is that there is a very, very, very high possibility that 1 year from today, Bitcoin is going to be higher than it is right now. Because even if it does go into a bear market, I do think it's going to be a shorter bear market. I do think it's going to be a shallower bear market than anything we've ever seen before. I don't think Bitcoin's going to go down to $29,000 or $32,000. I don't think Bitcoin's going to go below $40,000. It could go down to $50,000, but I don't think it's going to go below there. What I think is that you're going to see a shortened and shallower bear market, if one even occurs at all. And then you're going to see a super cycle where Bitcoin is going to take off. And that super cycle might mean that we get a 50% drop. I mean, we already got a 35% drop, right? I mean, this was a pretty big drop, $46,000 in 49 days, about $1,000 a day. It's possible that you see a 50% drop and you can call that a bear market, but it is nothing like what we've seen in the past where we're dropping down 78%, right? And so ultimately, we've got to kind of just play it by ear and figure out what Bitcoin's going to do. But right now, all eyes are on this moving average. Bitcoin is most likely going to move up to this moving average. And then when we get there, we should have more understanding. We should have more understanding about whether Bitcoin's going to break it or not. So stay tuned. We got a lot of content coming up. Really appreciate you guys for being here. Let's read some chat. And ultimately, it just kind of comes down to, like I said, being opportunistic and getting good entries. No doubt, not dead cat bounce, a real rebound, strongest relief rally ever. That is something to talk about. I mean, like I said, I got to go here pretty quick, but something to talk about is that there is a lot of short liquidity sitting up there waiting to be snagged. A lot of people have been delusionally bearish, right? You've seen James Wynn and a lot of other people talking about delusionally bullish. I've been telling you for a long time that Bitcoin was going down to 94. I was very vocal about that. When I am confident in something, I'm going to tell you. I was very confident we were going to go down to 94. A day after we hit it, I said, no, we're going to go lower. That wasn't low enough. But now all that long liquidity has been grabbed. There's a lot. It's not even showing up here for some reason, but there's a lot of short liquidity sitting up here right above us. You could see just a biblical short squeeze back up well above $100,000 just as people get shaken out. So there will be a short squeeze to come with what we're seeing right now. You just wait. It's going to happen. Guys, if you haven't already, I do encourage you to make sure that you sign up for NordVPN by going to nordvpn.com/Jeb. And the reason you ought to do that is because there's a massive Black Friday deal going on right now. You can get NordVPN for over 75% off if you use our link. Go to nordvpn.com/Jeb, and you're going to get access to a Black Friday deal where you get 4 months extra for free. So if you come over here and get the best plan, which is the 2-year plan, and you get the plus plan, you're going to end up being able to sign up for $105. This is phenomenal. For 2 years plus 4 months free. It's $105. That's nothing. You got a 30-day money-back refund guarantee, and you're also going to get access to the best VPN on the market to keep yourself safe and private while you browse online. On top of that, you're going to get access to an ad blocker. How much time do you spend watching ads? You're going to get an ad blocker with NordVPN. You're also going to get NordPass, which is their proprietary password manager. And as a user of NordPass, I will tell you, I think it is phenomenal. I love NordPass. It's an extremely valuable product, and I have paid for this because I like NordPass. Also, the breach scanner is phenomenal. I don't promote products to you guys that I don't personally believe in, and generally 80 to 90% of the time when we take a sponsor on the channel, we also take that sponsor because we use them. I use NordVPN. Like, I use their products, and I have for years. I love Nord. So a couple of years ago, when they approached us to sponsor our channel, we're like, that is a match made in heaven. We love this company. Of all the VPNs on the market, this is the one that we use. And so if you haven't already, make sure to sign up for NordVPN by going to nordvpn.com/Jeb. We have some spam comments in the stream chat. Under the videos is one thing. Stream chat ain't gonna fly. This is my territory, baby. Get out of here. You're about to be banned. Not happening. Under the videos is bad enough. I can't police all that, but No, sorry, not put user in hideout in timeout. Let's replace that. Hang on. Let's unhide. And then let's make sure that we hide the user on the channel. Yeah, no, you're gone. You're done. Out of here. You're fired. You're fired. No spamming in my stream chat. Get out of here. You were calling for 140K Bitcoin the week before the dump. Yeah, and then about 2 days before 1010, I told you not to go long because the market was shifting. 2 days after 1010, I said we're going to 94. Everybody who watched our channel was not in a long position when 1010 happened. Let's see. No bots in our chat. No, sir. No, sir. Not happening. Get out of here. You ever just like, I'm going to grab you by your ear and we're going to throw you out the window. Get out of here. Get out of here. Still seems bearish currently. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we've still got to lean bearish until we've got confirmation one way or the other. Guys, also something that I use and that I want you to use is ITrust Capital. I want to show you this, and the reason that I highly encourage you to sign up for ITrust Capital is because the end of the year is coming up. If you guys haven't already, you need to sign up for ITrust Capital. Like, again, our policy with sponsors is that we bring on sponsors that we believe in, and ideally we bring on sponsors that we use. I believe in ITrust Capital, and I use ITrust Capital. The reason that we use ITrust Capital and that we believe in ITrust Capital is because I don't like paying the tax man. I don't know about you. I hate taxes. I cannot stand them. I am better at spending our money than the government. I am better at helping people with our money than the government. I'm better at using our money than I don't want the government getting my money. And so when I invest, I use every single possible method that I can get my hands on to avoid paying taxes legally. And investing in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies through a retirement account is one of the best ways to do that. So if you haven't already, make sure to sign up for ITrust Capital using the link in the description box down below. Go to itrustcapital.com/go/crypto-jeb. The link for that is down below. itrustcapital.com/go/crypto-jeb, and you will get access to ITrust Capital, and you'll be able to get a special $100 funding bonus whenever you sign up and actually deposit into ITrust Capital. Here's the bottom line. When you invest and you're not using a retirement account, you don't actually get to deduct that investment on taxes. You have to pay taxes on the income that you invest, which means that right off the top, you're paying a quarter of the money that you would have been investing into taxes. We want to avoid that in any way possible, and a traditional IRA or an SEP IRA or a Roth IRA is a phenomenal way in a multitude of different ways to avoid taxes. So make sure to check out iTrust Capital and invest in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies through there. I'd be glad you did. All right. Oh, by the way, let's read a little bit more chat before we go here. Also, by the way, guys, one last thing. Make sure to check out Stamp Seed. Links down below. Don't lose your seed phrases in a fire. That'd be the worst way to do it. That would be the worst way to custody Bitcoin, is losing your seed phrases in a fire. It is something that is, it happens. It's very unfortunate, and it's something that you do not want to happen to you. You work very hard for your Bitcoin and your cryptocurrencies, so, you know, make sure to custody them in a way that is safe. All right, so recap. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Bitcoin, because of the way the weekly close happened, has closed the weekly above the 0.786. This does give us a glimmer of hope for the bull market that possibly this is just a deeper bull market correction than we've been used to. Thus far, Bitcoin has fallen down to a different Fibonacci level and bounce. In this market, we fell back down to the 0.382, which is at 54,000, and we bounced, and to the 0.5, which is at 48,000, and bounced. And then over here, we dropped down to the 0.5 and the 0.618 and bounced. And now Bitcoin is doing something very similar, where we have dropped back down to the 0.786, wicked below it, but bounced. If Bitcoin is therefore able to recover the 50, then honestly, all of this movement right here may have been the bear market. It really could be. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind that there is a possibility. Time for the ban hammer again. We got another ban hammer. Drop the ban hammer. God, I love dropping the ban hammer on bots. Get that out of here. That's got to be a new segment on the channel, is get out of here. Get the bots out. No bots. No kings. Try no bots. No bots in our stream chat. Stream chat is sanctified. Get out of here. Under the videos, we're working on a solution for that. In the stream chat, heck no. I like my stream chat. I like talking to you guys. Get the bots out of here. For anybody watching, there were some bots, you know, they were promoting literally nothing. I don't even understand what they're promoting. They're like promoting a project that doesn't even exist. It's literally just spam. There's someone out there's like, oh, you know what? I'm going to get satisfaction out of life from spamming Jeb's stream comments. It's like, get a life. Get a life. You're so lame. Really? That's the best you got? Get out of here. Drop the... Oh, wait a minute. We got the Stamp Seed. Boom! Stamp Seed ban hammer. Oh, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Love being here with you. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. At the end of the day, the most important thing that we can do right now is we can begin to build financial sovereignty for our family. The way that we do that is we choose to be faithful stewards of all that God has entrusted us with. And that begins with having a solid budget. That begins with having an emergency fund. But as you start progressing through those basic tenets of personal finance, then it ends up building into making solid investments. And when we are looking for solid investments, we want to find assets that we believe in, that we have conviction in. And if we are able to find assets that we believe in and we have conviction in, that is where we find out what we should be investing in. I have a lot of conviction in Bitcoin, so I have a lot of Bitcoin. If you have a lot of conviction in the real estate market and you know how to do it, then there you go. That's where you invest. If you're anything like me, I have a great deal of conviction in Bitcoin, and so I am perfectly comfortable to invest $40,000 in Bitcoin right down here and get a lower entry on Bitcoin when I see Bitcoin at these levels. I'm happy to buy it. I'm happy to acquire and build a long-term position. And so at the end of the day, really appreciate all of you being here. If you haven't already, make sure to check out all of the sponsors that we talked about today, ITrust Capital, NordVPN, StampC. Thank you to them for making this stream possible. Thank you guys for 8 years. The channel is now over 8 years old. We have been making content every single day, full-time job for over 8 years, providing for our family and teaching a lot of people about Jesus, teaching a lot of people about finances, and I look forward to that continuing. So if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, follow us on X at CryptoJeb. Make sure to check out the EVADEX tutorial we just did. Really cool exchange that we are very excited about. So if you haven't already, make sure to check them out. There's a tweet about it over here talking about EVADEX. Pretty cool exchange. So big shout out to EVADEX. But yeah, we're going to wrap it out. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.